Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics, and in this video I'd like to mark reaching 70,000 subscribers on the channel with a bit of a follow-up from a video last week regarding the feeding of children over Christmas and the government's U-turn, where it seemed that there were those who wanted them to starve and have ironically contributed to getting a few more actually fed. So thanks to the haters, really. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, first of all, yes, thank you to everyone who has subscribed recently and making this new milestone possible, and also those who remained subscribed, who formed the foundation to build upon. It's getting very exciting. It shouldn't really be this exciting. YouTube don't get that excited about it. You know, number of subscribers is something of interest really to the content creators, but it is exciting, and it opens up the possibility of maybe, don't want to jinx anything, maybe getting to 100,000 next year sometime. But on to what I want to mostly talk about here, bit of a catch-up. So, particularly if you are a new subscriber and you may not have seen the videos of last weekend. Last week, the government finally U-turned on their plans to allow kids in extreme poverty to go hungry over Christmas. They said they're going to fund meals, and they actually are going to fund a whole range of things that weren't being asked for. It was very encouraging. It was as U-turns go, it's a hell of a U-turn. And the thing is, before the U-turn, it was quite a disgraceful situation that they would be refusing to extend the food help for starving kids over Christmas, when the government had spent way more on feeding well-off middle-class families this summer, in a scheme that, by the way, has since been shown to have had no economic benefit and helped drive the second COVID wave. But just before the government U-turned, however, on my Twitter feed, I had a bit of a dogpiling on, as some will know, of people who were arguing that these kids should be allowed to starve, or that it was someone else's fault and the government should certainly do nothing about it. So much so that I did a video about this, and then the next day I did the video on the government U-turning. And I'm sure that government U-turn warmed their hearts. I'm sure they loved the fact that the government are now going to fund some more help for them. Now, they've actually helped out in another way as well, because the video that I did preceding the U-turn did very well. It got a lot of way more views than my videos normally get, which of course means it generated way more revenue than it would normally get. And when the government U-turned as well, I'm going to, before I explain what the consequence of the video is ultimately going to be, I'm just going to explain where it is I stand with this issue in particular, because some will say, well, it's the third time you're talking about it in a week, you know, it's not that newsworthy, is it? Not necessarily, but it's very important to me. Slight tangent, I do go off on tangent, slight tangent. With Donald Trump's reticence, he is now starting to come across to come around to the idea that he won't be president next January. He said a thing in a press conference, but he's still doing his usual thing and refusing to concede. And someone posted on Twitter John Cain's concession speech when he lost to who was at the time Senator Barack Obama. Very gracious. They're all, let's be honest, they're always gracious. But it was the most gracious concession speech I think I've heard. But as part of it, John McCain talked, and this was not related to Obama directly, but he talked about the fact that he'd always believed that America was like the land of opportunity for those who will seize those opportunities, and he believed that Obama was of the same mind. I don't know whether now President Obama is of the same mind. I am not of the same mind. I'm not of that mind in America. And I know in America you have this idea of the American dream, and anyone through hard work can make it big. That is the same line that's pushed in this country by the Conservatives. And it's a conservative philosophy, which some people genuinely believe. Nonsense. It's an absolute nonsense. But the way I think people can allow themselves to believe it is, poverty is a prison from which a few people see opportunities to escape. And of those few people that see opportunities to escape, a very small number do. A very small number, whether a combination of hard work, luck, judgment, skill, whatever, a few break out. A very small number. If it was entirely down to hard work, why would very wealthy people send their kids at great expense to private schools? Why would they spend a lot of money in giving their kids every advantage if it's not actually an advantage? All they need to do, apparently, is to instill a strong work ethic in their offspring, and the rest will sort itself out. That is self-evidently not the case. If they believed that, you wouldn't have private schools, because what would be the point? No, you get a small number who, through sheer grit and a number of other factors, will break out of it. And then everyone looks at them, well, look, they came from that poor background. If they can do it, anyone can do it. Maybe anyone can do it, but not everyone can do it. Poverty is a prison. And it is true that some people, if they showed more grit, may do better. But the problem is, like a prison, it's despairing. If you see everything stacked up against you, you see the bars, you see the walls, you see the sentries, you see the flashlights, you see everything that's there to keep you in place, and you despair. Very few people really have what it takes to be able to see past that. And it will set in a bit of a depression. Now, I have been in poverty for a very brief period of my life, very brief. And I knew I would get out of it. There was no reason for me not to have got out of it, and indeed I did. But I could also well imagine during that time that if I didn't fundamentally strongly believe that I would be able to get out of it, you would just settle into a life of apathy. And what's particularly unfair, I think, because adults in that situation, you can argue, if they could just get the spark of motivation, may be able to do something. Not everyone can get out, but maybe anyone can, and maybe they could. But I'll tell you who can't get out, who can never get out, who have no chance of getting out, and that's children. Children in poverty can do nothing about their situation. Nothing at all. It may well be that adults in that situation, even if they try their very hardest, will still not get out, but maybe they can. Children cannot. They cannot. And the idea that we would therefore abandon such vulnerable people who are not in a position to be able to be masters of their own destiny as yet. They can work towards it far in the future potentially, but in the here and now they can't, is appalling to me. So the upshot really is that video, which did very, very well, and it is the sort of thing that's going to get at me. So, if I sort of see comments effectively arguing for these children, for whatever reason, to be kept not only in poverty, in desperate situation, but to actually be denied food, I will find personally very offensive. Because as some other people have pointed out, let us imagine, what do you do with a starving child? You feed them. So there's no need for any flow diagram here. Let us imagine that you just genuinely believe that the reason the child is going hungry is because the parents are wasteful, or it's because they don't know how to cook, or for whatever other myriad reasons you think it's the parents to blame. As one Tory MP said, they're spending all their vast fortune from benefits on blackjack and hookers. Actually, that may have been Bender. But a Tory MP said something very similar. Drugs and hookers. Let's say you believe that. Is that still a reason to let the child go hungry? No, it is not. It doesn't matter what you think is the cause. You have a hungry child, you feed the hungry child. I would argue if you have a hungry person, you feed the person. But I do not understand on what basis anyone can say you do not feed the hungry child. And bear in mind, for all these hungry children, there will be parents going hungry as well, because many parents, good parents, will try and ensure that their children have something, even if it means they have nothing. So what's happened is that video did very well. It earned a lot of money, very nearly £200. So I shall top that up. And my first thought was, okay, we're going to donate this to a food bank. But the way these things work is, I thought to myself, right, I can't just exactly go to Aldi and get 200 quid's worth of these sort of things. As it is, I'm going to split it. So I'm going to split it £100 on food for the food bank and £100 on the NSPCC, which is a children's charity in the UK. So I'm sure that'll warm their hearts as well. And even then, even with just going to Aldi for £100 worth of stuff, I've been in contact with my local food bank and asked what they're most in need of. And I've now got visions of going there with the trolley, just getting like 10 or 20 cans of a particular thing and having accusing eyes, thinking that I'm stockpiling and panic buying ahead of Brexit or something. But there we go, we'll just have to put up with that one. But I thought I would just share that with you as the 70,000 subscriber special. You know, I do like it when a plan backfires on hateful, spiteful little goblins, and there it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.